sounds like her student, Grania.
I've words to talk to you about.
What did I? Look, I didn't do it, okay? Whatever you do.
This makes you sound more capable. I've been watching How to Get Away with Murder, the Netflix
Go
show.
for it. Bits of it, and actually, yeah.
We'll talk about the local support services we developed over the last few years. Then Ross Humphrey from Humphrey's Pharmacy around the corner on Pierce Street will give a talk about pharmacy owners' expectations of locums. So that'll be a good perspective to look at it from. Following Ross, Elizabeth Lang from the IPU will give a talk on the benefits of IPU membership. Then Niall Hayes from Contracting Plus will give an overview of the contracting service that we provide in conjunction with Contracting Plus. And finally, we'll finish with some refreshments and networks, and I can take questions on an individual basis at that stage. So I'll give a brief overview of Clarity. We're founded in 2012. Started off in Bedroom out in Rathmines. We grew to Dane Street, now on Bagot Street, and we operate nationwide. We deal with community, hospital, and industrial recruitment. Primarily in community, it's locums and part-time placements. Hospital, there's a bit of locum in hospital, and again, full-time placements. Industrial, predominantly contract roles. As I said, permanent contract, full-time, part-time opportunities. Basically, if there's a job out there, it'll be on our books. We also offer free touch store and quick script training on site on Bagot Street. So we're the only agency that offers a walk-in centre. So if you're around town, feel free to drop in. And we're also run by pharmacists. Both myself and John are practicing pharmacists. So if you have a query or a question, John will go into that in further depth in his talk. You can always pick up the phone and ask us. I'm sure you will have plenty of questions as you start your career. So our mission statement, Clarity Locums is dedicated to ensuring a high quality, efficient, responsive service for locums and clients alike. That's really us in a nutshell. We're all about the quality of our service, both to the clients and to the locums. We've developed a fantastic website and app that's cut down the time that locums need to spend both processing their days and applying for payment. That leads into our efficiency and our responsiveness. We're always on the phone. Pick up the phone any stage of the day, you will get an answer. You won't get an answering machine, or if you do get an answering machine, we'll be back to you within a couple of minutes. So that's Clarity's mission statement. These are the advantages to locuming. If you're a pessimistic type, you could easily switch this around and say these are disadvantages. But I'll just go through them. Autonomy, it allows you to decide when you work, where you work. If you want to take a 6-month holiday, you can do it. You don't need to clear it with an area manager or your boss. You are your own boss. Highly flexible. If you're doing a master's and you need 2 days off a week to study, fine. You can determine your own wage to an extent. Obviously, you're not going to be a billionaire working as a locum, but you can work possibly sustainably about 45 to 50 hours a week. Multiply that by the going rate in the area you're locuming. So you can work out there what sort of wage you want to earn. Again, work-life balance. It does allow you to do a number of things on the side. You can have a kind of portfolio career, with locuming being one source of income. It'll give you a broad depth of experience, and that's especially beneficial at the outset of your career. You can work in a number of different locations in any one week. On Monday, you could be working in Dublin 4, selling high-end perfume to people earning well over 6 figures. And then by Tuesday, you could be out in a council estate, doling out methadone to people with no job in their life. Now that will provide various challenges. And you'll also find what type of pharmacy you like working in best. And also limited responsibilities. Again, you could easily say that this is a disadvantage as it doesn't allow you to develop your career. But I'd say at the outset, it's definitely an advantage. It allows you to develop your kind of customer relation skills and your dispensing technique without the added responsibilities having to deal with rosters, having to deal with managers, having to deal with getting discounts off suppliers. So that's really the advantages of locum and how you can use it to your benefit as you start your career. So down to the nuts and bolts. Bookings. Saturdays are always in the highest demand, followed by Sundays. The weekends, people always want weekends off and they need locums to cover their shops if they're open. Rates on Sunday vary generally from €22 per hour to €27 per hour. The standing rate can go as high as 30 outside of Dublin. Certainly if you're lucky enough to be living in Wexford or Waterford, you should be really aiming for around 30-ish mark. Sunday rates vary quite a bit, from 25 to 40 euros an hour. That's really dependent on the location and the chain that are offering the rate. Unfortunately, January and February are just around the corner, and they're also the quietest months of the year. Very few people take holidays at this stage, but you will see the number of bookings increasing month on month, week on week, as we go past the Easter break. And it kind of peaks in July and August, where you'll see a huge amount of bookings going through. If you could split yourself in half, you do 14 bookings a week. Driving license is a massive advantage. Even if you're living in Dublin, especially during those quieter months, it'll give you a bit of scope to go out to Meath, to go out to Kildare, to go out to Westmeath even, and cover Locum days. So it'll give you a bit more scope. So if you haven't got a driving license, I would urge you to look into it if you do intend on Locum. Our booking system, we have a number of ways of booking. We've got the online system that you can access via browser. We've got the app, which I've already mentioned, emails and texts. And if we're particularly desperate, we will pick up the phone and ask you, are you free? The app and website are by far and away the most popular way of booking days at the moment. If you apply for a day, you get an email acknowledgement of your application. Now we try and process applications as quick as possible, but sometimes it always isn't possible to get back to you within 5 minutes. The area manager might be off, or the shop owner might be away that particular day, but we will try and do it in as timely a fashion as possible. If you are successful, you'll get a confirmation text just to let you know if you're out and about, you've got the day, and you're booked in, and then an email will come through with full details, so the opening hours, telephone, the name of the pharmacy, a Google map link to the actual pharmacy, and in some cases our clients have given them the Locum SOP, so that will be attached to the email, or a link will be provided where you can download that SOP and read it prior to going in and doing your booking. And then once you finish the day, you will get an online verification via the website map. So you go in and you just basically verify days like you would a GMS script. And that's far quicker than filling out timesheets, I found. It helps us and it helps the Locum. So you need to do that by the last day of the month to ensure payment. We will always send reminders, so there's no issue there generally. So preparing for your first booking, what I would do is I'd ring the pharmacy the afternoon prior to the booking just to get a sense of anything urgent on the day. They'll tell you if there's issues with transport. If you're using public transport, I'm sure you know which bus number to get, what stop to get off at. Weather forecast, and this is particularly important if you're travelling on motorways in the M50s. I've noticed when there's a lot of delays, it's usually due to bad weather on the motorways, people getting caught behind doing variable car crashes and things like that. So if you do notice that there's a particularly bad weather day in store the next day, try to give yourself an extra 10 or 15 minutes. It could make all the difference. Try and bring a small packed lunch. Every pharmacy, even the quietest ones, have extremely busy days. We just won't be able to get out for lunch. So do bring a small packed lunch with you. It'll avert disaster or fainting episode if you're stuck in there for 9 hours in one go. BNF and BNF for children. When you start Locum, certainly this is what I did. I bought a BNF and a BNF for children because I didn't know where it would be in the pharmacy when I got there. And invariably you'll get some bizarre amoxicillin script for a neonate and you won't know what to do, and you won't have them in the normal BNF, so you'll need your BNF for kids. It just helps, and it just takes away a minor disaster. I always use a double alarm in the morning. Perhaps that's paranoid, but I always did, especially when Locum, because I didn't want to wake up at 9:15 and be an hour away from my booking. And the charge phone, you'll be using your phone to take bookings throughout the day perhaps, or you'll be contacting pharmacies that you've already worked in, so make sure you bring your phone and it's charged, because if you do turn up at a pharmacy, there might just be one other person on it and they might not have the same phone connection as you. So during the day, when you first arrive at the pharmacy, sign the duty register and sign the British Dental log. Start up the computer straight away and make a note of the order cut-off. Not every pharmacy uses the same first line supplier, and depending on your location, the cut-off might be 12:30 or 1. The last thing you want is a patient turning up at 4 o'clock for some of those meant to be in the afternoon order and not having it. Check any notes in the diary bench. That'll avert you chasing after prescriptions when there could be a note there providing a perfectly adequate explanation as to why an item isn't in for a patient. Quickly get a basic layout of the pharmacy, find out where the insulin needles are, where the fridge is, where the antibiotics are. CD location, methadone or access, prescriptions are. Find out where these are, because the last thing you want is, because it might not be the case that you were to blame for something happening, but they want to strike you off the suspect list, so they will. In some cases, I'll get panic calls from pharmacists saying, "Do you have this guy's number or this girl's number? They were here yesterday." So always leave the number. It just cuts down on issues the next day. So do's and don'ts. It's a good idea to bring biscuits and cakes for staff. Like a packet of hot dogs costs you about €1. They're going to be on a diet. They're also going to love the biscuits. So do bring them. It's a good idea. Dress professionally. I sometimes get feedback that a locum turn up in jeans. Jeans are out of the question. Professional dress at all times. And chat with staff. You might not like the X Factor or whatever they're talking about, but just try and have a chat with them if you can. I mean, it does develop rapport and it does lead to better feedback and developing your communication skills as well. Some don'ts. These are just a few don'ts that I've come through over the years. Some of you will not like pharmacy. I guarantee you that. A few in this room just will not like it. Do not complain to staff like this. Leave that for your friends, leave that for your partner, leave that for your family. But don't complain about staff, because it's very poor feedback. I get it every year. A locum goes in and complains about pharmacy all day, and it's just like you're in there, you're earning 25, 30 euros an hour, you're working with a technician who might be on 10, 12 euros an hour. It creates tension and it doesn't lead to good feedback. Staff disputes is a bit of a no-brainer. Don't get involved in it. It's a zero-sum game. At best, you're going to come out looking okay. Just don't get involved. And again, this is another one that comes through occasionally. Don't put staff under pressure to leave early. Just budget that you're going to be 5 minutes late leaving the pharmacy, or maybe even 10. If it goes past 10 minutes, you can always claim an extra quarter of an hour. I've never had a client have an issue of paying an extra quarter of an hour for locum. They are held up. But certainly don't put staff under pressure to leave early to catch a bus. Just to wrap up my section, feedback. We'll be giving you guys feedback throughout the year in your performance as it comes back from the clients. I think it's very important to give you both positive and, unfortunately, in some cases, negative feedback. It allows you to develop professionally and improves you as a pharmacist. We also value feedback on our service. So if there's any stage you're on the website or you're getting emails and say, "Oh, I think Anthony or Clare could be doing this a bit better," get on the phone and let me know. I'm absolutely open to feedback at all stages. We also like feedback on our clients. So if you go into a pharmacy and find it particularly difficult, or there's a particular issue that you want to get off your chest, pick up the phone. I don't want to send any locum out to a pharmacy where they're going to put under undue pressure. Now, you're going to have busy days, but if it's a pharmacy you find it very, very difficult, let me know. I won't put newly qualified locums in there in the future, and I'll put you into a quiet place. I'll just make things easier for everybody. And finally, feel free to drop by our office for a coffee around the stage. I'm in there all hours of the day and night, so you can pop in, have a chat, go on to our touch store, quick switch system, prepare for your next locum. And that's it. We're always open to feedback and to chatting with locums, and they're in there every day of the week. I have a different pharmacists in there, so you're absolutely welcome to pop in whenever you're dropping by.
So, John is my name. I just want to say a few words about Clarity Locums from the point of view of Clarity Locums being a resource to pharmacists and to locums. In some ways, locums are probably quite a vulnerable group across the professional spectrum. You're working on your own. You may have pals from college and so on, but inevitably, as time moves on, that may disassociate a bit. So we do want to be a resource from a professional point of view to the locums and recognise the professional context that they're practicing in. And I suppose as Anthony said, both Anthony and myself are both pharmacists, so we're both subject to the code of conduct as well, even though it's a locum agency. We still have to be mindful of that in the way in which we do our business, and that has implications in terms of the way the situations that locums might find themselves in. They may well find themselves in an invidious position, and so what we want to say to you is that if you are in those situations, that you can come and talk to us discreetly, confidentially, and professionally, and we will try to help in those situations. We're not trying to be nice here, actually, but we're responding to needs that we're actually getting. We do have pharmacists who are in trouble, and they find themselves in difficult situations, and they don't have anyone to turn to. Some of them may not actually be national to Ireland. They may have poor language abilities, and they're quite isolated. So they have to have somewhere to call, as it were. So I suppose that's the key message from this part of the talk, is that Charity Locums is not just facilitating the employment of pharmacists and facilitating recruitment, in full-time recruitment and placements, but actually recognises that in the way in which the profession is set up, there's a necessity for Charity Locums to act as a professional resource. So that's an important context. We are mindful of the code of conduct, but also of the core competency framework, and we'll talk in those terms to locums who need support in a particular circumstance. So I suppose I just want to generally make that point. I suppose the other thing then is just specifically in terms of the code of conduct, there are particular points that are made within the code in terms of raising concerns with the appropriate authority, policies, systems and working conditions, or the actions of professional performance or health of others who compromise patient care or public safety. That kind of affects us in two ways. One is that if we become conscious of a locum who's engaging in these kind of behaviours, we have to be mindful of it as professional pharmacists. But equally, if there's a pharmacy that's acting in this way, we have to be mindful of it in that way as well. And just then, as I say, many people in the room here are starting out in their careers, haven't got much experience. So the whole business of professional judgment has been, in many cases, it's an academic construct at the moment. But within a month, you're going to realise how important that construct is in practice. And so you may need help in terms of forming your professional judgments. And that's why, as Anthony was saying, the office is there, you can drop in, you can chat things through, and again, it's couching what I'm saying in the terms specifically of the code of conduct. So I suppose the hard end of this is that if we come across something if we come across a locum who really is a danger to themselves or to the public, we will have to act on that, and just been straight up about that, so that you know the kind of agency you're dealing with. It's the same point I'm making, but if there are situations where a pharmacist is having health difficulties, or is into some kind of drug abuse or something like that, and it comes across our desk, we have to deal with it according to the code of conduct. And believe me, this isn't an academic conversation we're having. So just to be aware of where we will stand on these things. We will do everything we possibly can to support the locum pharmacist in the interest of public health and in the interest of the patient safety. And we'll treat a thing on a case-by-case basis. Again, that's just a note we want to strike in relation to that. So that's one whole side of Clarity Locums, just to emphasise sort of the kind of way we approach issues and the context in which we approach issues. I'd like to see ourselves as
learning curve for me to grasp those skills, to get up to date. Whereas people like yourselves, when you come out onto the job market, there's a good sort of meeting between the skills that you have, you're bringing to the market, and also the profession and the service where it is at the moment. So I think really the future is very, very bright with people like yourselves coming out. You'll be better able to adapt to change than I would be, although I am doing my best to adapt to change, and I say it is a learning curve, and we will get there. But like I say, it's a great job, and it's great to see the quality of people coming out as well. I really like talking to locums as well and getting their different experiences. Because I've worked in the same shop for 17 years now, I don't have that much experience of what goes on in other pharmacies or what other people do. So I always like to get new ideas, talk to people, how they might do something a little bit different. It helps me for a start to grow. And one thing I suppose if I've learned in my years as a pharmacist is to be open-minded about things. I suppose when I came out first, I was quite narrow-minded. I was do things a certain way, but I guess it just goes to show over time when you meet people, you learn different skills from them and different ideas, and there's more than skin a cat. So I'm here to talk about the expectations that an employer would have for a locum when they come in. So over the last few years when I've been getting locums in, I obviously had certain requirements for myself. Like obviously they have to be on punctual and a stickler for punctuality. Also professional demeanour, professionally turned out as well, as Anthony was saying. Also I expect that they'll come in, that they will just get stuck in essentially as well. And I like to see them come in. When they come in, usually if I'm there or I have another girl that works with me, we always take the time to show them around the dispensary and to show them like our SOPs as well. I think it can help them a lot when you see where everything is laid out in the dispensary. And also I like to kind of show them all the little sort of, I would say quirks for lack of a better word, that we have in our dispensary. That we might have, say, all our antibiotics in one section, whereas another place might have their antibiotics sprinkled around the shop in the alphabet. So there's little things, I suppose it varies from shop to shop. But I always like to bring people in, I would like to get them off on the right foot as well, because I don't think it's fair really for somebody to come into a place that they haven't been in before. It's a lot for them to adjust to when they come in. I was thinking as well, when somebody comes in, what are the different steps that somebody would, I would go through or to expect of somebody when they come into the shop. I mean, the first thing really is the duty register for the PSI. Like anybody that comes in with me, I get them to sign it first thing, so it's done, and it's done and dust. We don't have to worry about it at the end of the day. Also, as well, I like to show them our computer system, and that's a kind of an idea I would like that people are familiar with the government schemes and with the different computer systems as much as possible. I was delighted Anthony as a place for actually going and practicing, because most people, myself included, when we started working, we had to learn on the job, which is fine to a certain extent. But when you go to a busy place, it's not always easy. It's not always the easiest thing to do, to pick it up as you go along. So once we kind of show them the logins and all the different areas, the little apps and stuff we use on the computer as well. Also some very basic things like we've had an extra supply of receipt paper, because it always goes, when you're mad busy. So we know the receipt paper is the labels as well. That's a particular. I've been stung a few times where I worked in places a long time ago and I had no labels, so I don't remember what I did. But I always make sure there's a plentiful supply of labels. They're easily accessed as well, and all my sort of supplies are in one place as well. I try to keep a corner of our dispensary as well, and it's all our reference book, like our BNF for children, and MIMS if I have one as well, as a reference books as well. Also, we've like the keys for our safes, and also our CD register, our methadone register. And as much as possible, I leave a kind of a list of maybe patients who are due to collect on a certain day, say tomorrow and Wednesday. We might have 3 people who are collecting stuff. Also our methadone patients as well. I'd leave a list of who is due on that day. I'd really leave the scripts out, ideally, and just put a post-it note on top of it as well. Also, I would show little things like there were the fridges, and also Unifar had a diary, a day-by-day diary I got this year, which was really, really good. It's like a Bible in the shop, because it has a page a day, and there's like blister packs, other things to do, so everything can be documented. So you're not waiting on post-it notes or posting post-it notes everywhere or writing on a scrap of paper. It's a bound book that you can actually keep, and it carries on till the next day as well. So things like that are really have helped to have some sort of continuity. Like our SOPs as well are accessible if need be. And also we encourage the local, I always introduce it to the staff first thing, because I think it's very important that, you know, you're working with these people for the day. It's important that you know who you're talking to. Names, I think, are very important for staff as well, but also for customers. I make a particular point of addressing my customers by name, because I think we have a family business, it's a personal business as well, and if we don't know our customers' names, we're not doing our job as fully as we could do it. And especially because a lot of our customers are repeat customers, I think we're trying to build a relationship over time with our customers as well. Another important thing is to just basically go look at the front of the shop as well and see where everything is. I do a special sign-in for the tills for Locums as well, so they know, you know, they have a particular number that I've assigned, so when they come in, if I have a chance before time, I put their name on it. If not, I'll get one of the girls to set it up for them as well. So I try to make it as personal as possible, especially when somebody's coming in just for the one day. I try to make them feel as at home as possible, because I know what it's like going into a place. You don't know anybody, you may have never been there before, it could be a busy place as well. So a lot of these things are kind of sort of the simple things, but like as we know, we go into a shop, you get the curveballs thrown at you as soon as you're in the door. And I think if you address the simple things before you get started, then any of the curveballs as they come, you'll be better able to deflect them and better able to deal with them. That's my experience of it now. I was just trying to think of some more ideas now for help efficiency in the Locums. I thought of an app. Everybody's a smartphone nowadays, and there's an app I use called Evernote, and I use it for a lot of my paperwork. Now, and there's an app that goes with Evernote called Scannable. So I can scan a page. Say I had that page there, and I want to take a scan of it. I would just take a Scannable with the Scannable app, and then I can email it to my Evernote, and then you can divide it into all different folders. I found that's very good for myself, just to keep a lot of the paperwork that I have in the one place. And I think for Anton, I don't know, I'm sure you must get a lot of emails from Anton, but it's a good way of recording everything in a folder in one place. You know, it works for me, and I'd recommend it as well. I think it's a very good idea. And I mean, there's numerous apps, but like I've used Evernote the last few years, and I found it really good. And I continue to find use both at home, in my home life, and at work as well. And you know, it's always good to have references as well. And the days of having a folder where you have this thick and this many pages are long gone in my pharmacy now, because we've just, you know, everything is scanned as much as possible. Obviously, we've paper copies and things like prescriptions, but a lot of, say, you know, correspondence and stuff like that, I scan it and I use it because I don't want to get bogged down and all that sort of stuff. But I have it on hand if I need to call it back. I was trying to think of something else, just a bit of advice to give you as regards, you know, being a successful local, successful pharmacist. And I talked about my mother. My mother now is not a pharmacist. She owns her business, but she's not a pharmacist as well. My late father was a pharmacist. And my mother, when I first started, she always used to say to me, go out and talk to the customer. And I didn't really understand. It took me a long time to get to grips. I said, what do you mean go out and talk to the customer? I am talking to the customers. I said, no, go out and talk to the customers and get to know them. So I didn't really understand. And about 10 years ago, I had a kind of a eureka moment where I understood what she meant by going and talk to the customers. When you go to a shop and you might be up the walls, or it could be up the walls, it could be flying in there, but sometimes when the pressure's really on, if you can go out and talk to the customer and say, look, the order hasn't come in, it might necessarily be your phone, but you say, the order hasn't come in, we're hoping to have it in this afternoon. Just things like that. It's all well and good sitting in the back, powering down, keeping the head down. It won't solve anything. If only it'll wind the people up. So I think if you actually go out and talk to people and discuss things with them as well, you know, like things like that happen to me all the time, and thankfully I have enough cop on now finally to just go out and talk to people and say, look, the order hasn't come in, I've managed to get it from another pharmacy, I've managed to get it from another supplier, I've managed to get it from somewhere else, and I'll have it for you this afternoon. And I think by being upfront and forward with people like that, really goes a long way, and it's a good way of looking after your customers as well, which are the reason we're all there. So I would like to wish you all the best of luck. Have a great time, enjoy it. It's a great profession. I'm delighted I did it. So best of luck to everybody here. Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Lang, and I'm a community pharmacist. So the Academy puts on lectures twice a year. There's a spring programme and an autumn programme, and it covers at least 10 topics. There's usually 5 topics in each, and it covers the ones that we ask them to cover. So the members are asked, what would you like to see done? So they've just done things like stroke management, they've 2 or 3 clinical ones, it might be a business one. They also run webinars through the academy, so you get that free of charge. I think it's €100 to be a member if you're not an IPU member, and you can attend any of the lectures that you wish. Also, they run a conference once a year, which is a great networking facility, as well as getting a lot of their CPD done in the one weekend, and there's also a good social aspect to that as well. The other thing is you also get reduced rates on any training programmes run by the IPU. They do business training, they do a certain amount of clinical. They keep you up to date with any changes within the profession to do with the PCRS, the HSE. They are doing a diploma in leadership and management, and this came out actually of our employee committee. We said that we come out of college, university, and we're very good clinically. We're experts in our field, but nobody shows you how to run a business. So you leave university and then you go and work in a shop. And I know as a young pharmacist, you're usually in charge when you're there for the day that you're there. And certainly as a locum, you don't want to do anything wrong, you don't want to do anything to harm the business, because you want to get repeat business from the client. So we came up with the diploma in leadership and management, and it is very into stuff that you just wouldn't have thought of. Down the line, you decide from stock control by staff, which is a skill in itself. So that you get reduced rates on that if you're an IPU. Another important thing that John touched on, obviously, competency as pharmacists, and hopefully you would never end up in a fitness to practice hearing, but should you ever find yourself subject to that and inquiry from fitness to practice from the PSI, the IPU supports pharmacists very well. They're probably the go-to resource if should you ever get a letter or called into fitness and practice inquiry. It's kind of a specialist subject, and they have been doing this pretty much since this role came about. The other thing is that the IPU, the union, isn't actually, it's not a trade union, it's a representative union of professionals. So as employees, we said, well, who represents us if it's our employer that we have an issue with? So we came up with a mediation service for employees and employers to use. It's again free of charge to members. As it happens, nobody has ever needed to go down the mediation route because they have a dedicated HR department within the IPU, and usually you can avoid it. You get advice from them, and usually you can sort things out. There's a process you go through before you go into mediation, but it is there should you ever need it. They do have certain career opportunities in that they do maintain a current situation vacancy list. I think that's probably covered well with the Clarity Locums. And they do keep a locum list, but it is good to know, what's around there. And the good thing about being a locum is you get resources from other locums. You find out where it's good to work and where it isn't, where you might avoid. But the likes of the agencies weren't there when I was first working, but they are now, and it is a really good resource to have. And it is a really good career choice in the beginning. You do get great experience. Again, networking through the IPU, they do lots of events nationwide, so you get to know the other pharmacists as well, both the contractors and the other locums and employee pharmacists. Another thing you would get as part of your membership, should you ever need it, you automatically get confidential counselling if you ever need it, either through work-related stress, all sorts of personal. I think we don't pharmacists who have been mugged who use this service, just to help with that bereavement counselling, and it's free and confidential. If you're an IPU member, you ring up BHI and you say, I'm an IPU member, and they will look after you that way. So it's just something that's there. The IPU don't know you're using it, it's just something that they give to their members. And the other thing is there's lots of loyalty schemes as membership. You get discounts on all sorts of, from telephones to the Apple Store. There's all sorts of things that you can avail of. So then the other thing they do is the IPUs, they help develop the role of the pharmacists when the vaccination service became a possibility. It had to be accredited, so the team in the IPU then spent, they did it really quickly, about 3 months to get proper training and accreditation, and it meant that within a few months we were able to vaccinate. So they're at the forefront of developing new services for pharmacists as well as engaging with European organisations that represent pharmacists and international. You know, I think is the current president of the European Federation of Pharmacists as well. So we negotiate with all the stakeholders, PCRS, and all the problems that we get that come with just being a community pharmacist. At this stage, I talk to whoever in the union. We get advice from the Locum, and the pharmacy you're working in is a member.
Plus in terms of your annual salary, but there's a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can do in terms of, you know, offsetting expenses, setting up an executive pension, for example. That will give you better tax relief, because company directors get a better tax relief on pension of 51% as opposed to employees, which is 40%. So different things like that we can talk to you about. You know, the whole thing with Locum, and you heard that from my colleagues here, that, you know, it gives you greater flexibility. You take control of your career. You know, it's all those things. So, you know, you would fall into one of those structures depending on the length of time that you want to do it, and we'd be happy to talk to you about that in different circumstances. Also, just important to point out, we've online portals and access to the accounting system. So, for example, you can take a photocopy of a receipt, upload it to our website. We'll process that in your next payment run and so forth. And you've got access to your accounts, so you can see what's happening in terms of, you know, your income and so forth. I guess, you know, in summary, you know, what we do is we're basically expert accountants for the locum sector. We look after all your financial affairs, personal tax returns when you embark on our service. We can give you advice in terms of wealth management or planning for your pension, and set up an executive scheme for you and so forth. And we can give you day one income protection, which I alluded to there briefly. We also, you know, as a part of our service, we can get you corporate health insurance, you know, with some of the service providers that we deal with, which gives you, I think we've got a discount rate based on the volume of business that we do and so forth. So that's essentially what we do, Contracting Plus. I suppose we're the, certainly the next stage of your career as you go on to embark on your employment, in terms of, you know, it maybe looks quite daunting at this stage when you say, okay, how do I get out there, how do I start, how do I commence my locuming, and then how do I, you know, set up my financial structure around that. We'd be very happy to talk to you all independently, if you like, or if you have any questions, we'd be delighted to answer for you. We work closely with Anthony and his team. All our contact details are on your website, I believe. So if you have any questions at all, we'd be delighted to answer for you going forward. In summary, that's it, and best of luck in your career. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
That's it for tonight, folks. Again, thanks a lot for coming along. It's great to see so many here. There's refreshments down the back, and myself and the others will be hanging around to have a chat and answer any questions you might have. So that's it.
Are you going? Yeah, I found